Compra como explica Carlo Orsi.
Conectamos en directo desde Euronews con el Congreso del Partido Conservador en Manchester. Vemos llegar al primer ministro británico, Boris Johnson, que aparece en este Congreso de Manchester con el eslogan "Hagamos realidad el Brexit". Después de un emotivo vídeo motivacional que explicaba los beneficios que la salida de la Unión Europea va a tener sobre la sociedad británica. Boris Johnson saluda a los miembros del partido entre aplausos y antes de su llegada escuchábamos vitoreos: Boris, Boris. El primer ministro revelará su última oferta a Bruselas para llegar a un Brexit con acuerdo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. It's fantastic, of course, to be.
Agradece a todo el mundo su presencia.
Attended conference for years, and I gather there was quite a lively mood last night in the hotel bars. And I want you to know,
Hace una broma sobre su noche
understand that some of you may have been
en el hotel, en el bar del hotel.
mildly peppered with abuse on the way in. Were you? Well, they're good. Good. I'm delighted. I'm delighted that you weren't. But even if you were, I don't think any of us are abashed by that kind of thing or downcast, because we're conservatives and we get on with serving the people of this country. And speaking of service, I should begin by paying tribute to my predecessor.
Dice que lo primero que quiere hacer es rendir homenaje a su predecesor, Theresa May. Aplausos otra vez entre el público. Muy distendido Johnson, ha hecho bromas con la audiencia. Mucha gratitud a Theresa May y su marido por su trabajo y su legado. Dice, he sido primer ministro durante 70 días.
Hospitals that are finally getting the investment to match the devotion of the staff. Schools where standards of
Habla de la financiación a escuelas y hospitales.
Colleges where idealistic young men and women are enrolling in large numbers now to fight crime across the country.
De la policía que lucha contra el crimen en todo el país.
Modern Type 26 frigates for sale around the world. And every one of those high-wage, high-skilled jobs in shipbuilding, in government, is a testament to the benefits of belonging to the United Kingdom.
Dice todos los beneficios que tiene esta gente son o proceden de su residencia en el Reino Unido.
The most successful political partnership in history, which we will protect and defend against those who would wantonly destroy it. And I say to Ruth Davidson as well, thank you, Ruth, for everything you did and have done.
Dice que
for the cause,
hay que mantener todo lo logrado en el Reino Unido.
And we will honor your legacy too. And I'm proud of the role that this government is playing in every
Y que está contento del rol que el gobierno está jugando.
Because it was this Conservative government that tackled the debt and the deficit left behind by the last Labour government. It was because we cleared
Culpa a los laboristas del déficit que dejaron
they left behind that we now
tras su última
record employment,
legislatura que tuvieron que arreglar los conservadores.
And we have record foreign direct investment of 1.3 trillion pounds.
Y se alegra de la inversión extranjera que ha llegado a un récord, dice, bajo los 10 años de mandato de los conservadores.
We have so many reasons to be confident about our country and
Dice, tenemos muchas razones para estar
I feel sometimes we're like a world-class
tranquilos con nuestro país y tener confianza en él.
part of the British system that seems to be on the blink. If Parliament were a laptop, then the screen would be showing, I'm afraid, the pizza wheel of doom. If Parliament were
Bromea
a school,
Boris Johnson, le podemos ver muy distendido, muy tranquilo.
a school, Ofsted would be shutting it down or putting it in special measures. If Parliament were a reality TV show, then the whole lot of us, I'm afraid, would have been voted out of the jungle by now.
Dice que si
At least
el Parlamento fuese un reality show, todos estarían,
we'd have had the consolation
les habrían votado para salir de ahí.
forced to eat a kangaroo testicle. And, the sad truth is that voters have more
Dice, la triste realidad
say over I'm a celebrity than they do over this House of Commons, which refuses to deliver Brexit, refuses
Tienen
to
más-
do anything constructive, and refuses to have an election.
más imagen de mí como una celebridad de lo que es
Voters are desperate for us to focus on
el Parlamento británico, donde se han rechazado
to chew the super masticated
las ofertas de acuerdo que hemos enviado a la Unión Europea.
what people want, what leavers want, what remainers want, what the whole world wants is to be calmly and sensibly done with the subject and to move on.
Dice, lo que el mundo quiere es seguir adelante con el asunto y acabar con ello ya.
And that is why
Y esta es la razón por la que
we are coming out of the EU on October the 31st, come what may. Conference.
Esta es la razón por la que no vamos a ir más allá del 31 de octubre. La fecha límite, recordamos, para la salida de la Unión Europea.
Let's get Brexit done. We can
Hagamos el Brexit realidad.
and we will, even though things have not been made easier by the surrender bill. We will work for a deal with our EU friends, but whatever happens, we must come out
Dice, vamos
by the end of
a
October.
trabajar por un acuerdo
This thing done, and then let's get ready to make our case to the country against the fratricidal anti-Semitic Marxists who were in Brighton last week. Last week, Jeremy Corbyn
hace referencia
had
al
another.
congreso que Jeremy Corbyn tuvo con los laboristas la pasada semana.
He wants a 4-day week, which would slash the wages of people on low incomes. He wants to ban private schools and expropriate their property, even though it would cost the
Le
taxpayer
acusa de
£1 billion
tratar
to educate
de poner
kids.
impuestos a las escuelas privadas.
Out excellence in schools by banning Ofsted, the inspectors who ensure that schools are safe for our children. But he had one good idea.
Dice, pero tuvo una buena idea.
Paragraph repeating what he has said every week for the last 3 years. He wants an election now.
Quiere elecciones ahora, dice, entre risas del público.
Poor fellow. The only trouble is that
Dice, el único problema, amigo,
was censored by John McDonnell or possibly Keir Starmer. So we have the astonishing spectacle of the leader of the opposition gagged, prevented by his colleagues from engaging in his constitutional function, which is to try to remove me from office. And in this age of creative litigation, I'm surprised that no one has yet sued him for breach of contract. Though,
bromea
now appears
Boris Johnson sobre
they try to bundle him toward the throne.
las propuestas de su rival político,
Chernenko,
Jeremy Corbyn.
look it up. Reluctantly propelled to office in a Kremlin coup, so that they can get on with their program of total national discord, turning the whole of 2020, which should be a great year for this country, into the chaos and cacophony of 2 more referendums. A second referendum on Scottish independence.
Se burla ahora de las ofertas de hacer un nuevo referéndum.
14 vote would be a once-in-a-generation decision. And a second referendum on the EU. I mean, can you imagine?
Dice, pueden imaginarlo.
Of this, but that is the Corbyn agenda. Stay in the EU beyond October the 31st, paying £1 billion a month for the privilege, followed by years of uncertainty for business and everyone else. As for the Lib Dems, their idea of serving the national interest was to write...
Sigue atacando Boris Johnson a su rival político y a sus propuestas en referencia al Brexit. Recordamos que estamos en directo para escuchar cuáles son los puntos de la última oferta que Johnson va a presentar a la Unión Europea. Después de 3 años y medio, la gente empieza a tomar a los opositores al Brexit como estúpidos. Dice que no quieren llegar a un Brexit realmente. Vuelve a repetir, hagamos realidad el Brexit el 31 de octubre.
And our borders and our laws to regulate differently and better, to take our place as a proud and independent global campaigner for free trade. Let's get it done because delay is so pointless and expensive and debilitating. Let's get it done because we need
enumera ahora las razones por las que hay que hacerlo realidad.
Partnership with the EU. Because it cannot be...
El precio dice que Reino Unido está pagando
This is not an anti-European party.
por este
This is not an anti-European country. We are European. We love Europe. I love Europe anyway.
Dice, somos europeos, yo amo Europa.
But after 45 years of really dramatic constitutional change,
pero después de 45
we must have a new relationship with the EU, a positive and
años,
partnership, and we can
tenemos una relación distinta con la Unión Europea.
We are tabling what I believe are constructive and reasonable proposals, which provide...
Dice, hoy estamos llevando a Bruselas una propuesta, creo, razonable.
Under no circumstances have checks at or near the border in Northern Ireland. We will.
Habla ahora de la frontera
We will respect the peace
de
process
Irlanda del Norte.
and the Good
Dice
Friday.
que se va a respetar. Dice que se va a respetar el acuerdo de 1998 de Viernes Santo.
Democratic consent by the executive and the assembly of Northern Ireland, we will go further and protect the existing regulatory arrangements for farmers and businesses on both sides of the border. And at the same time, we will allow the UK, whole and entire, to withdraw from the EU with control over our own trade policy from the start.
Dice Johnson y hace una división entre la fiscalidad que controla de Irlanda del Norte, que controlará el Reino Unido,
We will protect our
y las regulaciones que estarán dentro
Great Britain and
de la Unión Europea,
And
tanto en Irlanda del Norte como en Irlanda de la República de Irlanda.
yes, this is a compromise by the UK, and I hope very much that our friends understand that and compromise.
Dice, es un compromiso del Reino Unido.
Because if we fail to get an agreement, because of what is essentially a technical
Dice, si fallamos en encontrar un acuerdo
of future customs checks, when that technology is improving the whole time, then let us be in no doubt, conference, of what the alternative is. The alternative is no deal. And that is not an outcome we want. It is not an outcome we seek at all. But let me tell you, my friends, it is an outcome for which we are ready.
dice que de no haber un acuerdo, parece que no quedaría más remedio que una frontera, para lo que están preparados, asegura.
Yes, we are.
Pregunta al público, ¿estamos preparados?
To resolve this. Yes, we are.
Sí, lo estamos.
Let's get Brexit done by October the 31st because we have to get on and deliver.
Vamos a llevar a cabo el Brexit antes del 31 de octubre.
To answer the cry of
Dice,
those 17
el 31 de octubre, dice Boris Johnson.
for Brexit, because it is only by delivering Brexit that we can address that feeling in so many parts of the country that they've been left behind, ignored, that their time.
Dice que hay muchas partes del país que se sienten olvidadas, dejadas de lado.
But their views had become somehow unfashionable or unmentionable. And let's get Brexit done for those millions.
Repite, hagamos realidad el Brexit por las millones de personas que votaron.
And who accept the result of the referendum and want to get on. And when I say that
Aceptando el resultado del referéndum, tenemos que seguir adelante, dice.
To bring this country together, of course you're entitled. It's the first time I've spoken to you as party leader and prime minister at this conference. You're entitled to ask about my core principles and the ideals that drive me and are going to drive me as your prime minister. And I'm going to follow the example of my friend Sajid Javid, who gave a brilliant speech. I'm going to quote that.
Dice, tengo que seguir el ejemplo de mi amigo Javid, que ha dado un buen discurso que precedía a Johnson.
In my family on matters of the EU. But I want you to know, conference, that I have kept my ace up my sleeve. My mother voted leave.
Dice, mi madre
and my mother
votó sí al Brexit.
It's true. It's true. It's true. My mother taught me one thing. She taught me many things, but she taught me to believe strongly.
Me dijo que creyera mucho
equal dignity and the equal worth of every human being on the planet.
En la igualdad de todos los hombres en el planeta.
That may sound banal. That may sound trite, but it is not. It is not.
Puede sonar trivial, pero no lo es.
And believe in that.
Tienes que entender eso y creer en eso.
In this country that sums up that idea. The NHS is holy to the people of this country because of the simple beauty of its principle. That it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from.
Dicen, no importa dónde seas o dónde vengas.
The whole country figuratively gathers at your bedside and does everything it can to make you well again. And everybody pays to ensure that you have the best doctors and the best nurses.
Dice, todo el mundo paga para asegurarse de que tengas los mejores doctores, los mejores profesores.
And after 70 years, the results are, on the whole, amazing.
Después de 70 años, los resultados son increíbles.
The word cancer was a death knell. Heart attack was a terrifying thought. Well, we are slowly beating back the legions of disease. This country has
Dice
seen
que
the fastest fall
el país está luchando contra los grandes problemas de salud.
We have so much more to do. On Monday,
Dice que tiene mucho que hacer aún.
General Hospital.
Dice que visitó el Hospital General de Manchester.
With maxillofacial reconstructive surgery on people who only a decade ago would have been probably permanently disfigured by their traumas.
Dice que allí tratan a gente con la cara totalmente desfigurada, que hace 10 años tendría que quedarse así. Pero ahora puede tratarse.
Every one of them bursting with praise for the staff, for their energy and care. But that conference, that fantastic hospital was
Dice, ese hospital fantástico
1876 to serve the workhouse. And we were walking down long, narrow Nightingale wards that were designed by the pioneer of nursing. And as one of the managers told me, it's asking professionals to work in that environment is like asking a Premiership footballer to play on a ploughed field. And
Dice
so I was proud to tell them,
que en el hospital conseguir profesionales
we will totally rebuild.
Es como llamar a jugadores de primera a jugar en tercera división. Es que no puede tolerarlo.
We're not only recruiting more doctors and nurses and training them, but in the next 10 years we will build 40 new hospitals.
Dice que hay que entrenar a nuevos doctores y enfermeras y asegura que se construirán nuevos hospitales para las próximas generaciones.
Because after 70 years of the existence of the NHS,
Porque dice que después de 70 años de existencia de la seguridad social,
to say loud and clear, we are the party of the NHS. And I claim that title.
Dice que es el Partido Conservador el que tiene que asegurar que es el partido de la seguridad social.
Because it is our one nation conservatism that has delivered and will deliver the economic growth that makes those investments possible. And
Dice que es el crecimiento económico el que hace estas inversiones posibles.
Social care and end the injustice that means so many people have to sell their home to pay for their old age. And if you ask me, how are we going to do it? How are we going to pay for it all? How are we going to grow the UK economy?
Dice cómo vamos a hacer crecer.
Raising the productivity of the whole of the UK, not with socialism.
Dice cómo vamos a hacer crecer la economía británica, haciendo crecer los negocios del país, no con socialismo, dice. Se burla.
But by creating the economic platform for dynamic free market capitalism.
Los laboristas.
Yes.
Y habla de libre mercado y de capitalismo.
You heard that right.
Así de claro, parece que Boris Johnson vuelve a esa guerra clásica entre capitalismo y socialismo, que parece que se acentúa en la política europea.
Precisely because we are the party of capitalism, not because we shun it or despise it, and we understand the vital symmetry at the heart of the modern British economy. We need a dynamic enterprise culture and great public services. And I, of course, I've
Dice que cree
in action for a long time.
En los incentivos para la economía británica, pero también en los servicios sociales
It's all right. Who lives
y
there?
básicos.
Don't worry, no disgrace. I used to be mayor there. It's one of the fantastic place, greatest city on earth. And it's one of the many astonishing things about our nation's capital. It is the most productive region in the whole of Europe. For lots of reasons, in 1863, amongst other things, we were the first place to think of putting trains in tunnels and that kind of thing. And yet there are many other regions of the country that are far less.
Explica Boris Johnson
And that represents not
que Reino Unido siempre está a la vanguardia de desarrollo.
but a massive opportunity. Because I believe that talent and genius and chutzpah are evenly distributed across the UK, but it is also
Habla ahora del talento
opportunity is not
distribuido por todo el Reino Unido, desperdiciado porque no hay oportunidades.
to unlock talent in every corner of the UK.
Dice que hay que dar oportunidades a los talentos en todas las esquinas del Reino Unido.
Because that is the right thing to do in itself, and because that is the right way to release the economic potential of the
Dice porque es la mejor forma de desarrollar la economía del país.
if you're going to spread opportunity, is to insist on the equal safety of everybody's street wherever they live. And that's why we're recruiting 20,000 police officers. Thank you,
Dice,
and indeed thank you, Saj. And that is why we are committed to rolling up the evil county lines drugs gangs.
agradece a sus ministros su labor, también la decisión, o elogia la decisión de haber reclutado a más policías.
Die in the streets to feed the cocaine habits of the bourgeoisie, and we will succeed. And yes, we will be tough on crime. We will make sure
Dice que van a ser duros contra el crimen.
political backing to use stop and search, because it may be controversial. It may be controversial. It has to be done politely and in accordance with the law. But believe me, when a young man, and I'm afraid it's almost invariably a young man, is going equipped with a bladed weapon, there is nothing kinder or more loving or more life-saving you can do than to ask him to turn out his pockets and produce that weapon. And
Habla ahora de las medidas controvertidas que puedan tomarse, pero que siempre respetando la ley tratarán de asegurar la seguridad de todos.
yes,
Pone el ejemplo de un hombre con un cuchillo al que hay que reducir,
we will make sure that they
como
serve
sea.
the sentence they should, if only for the protection of the public. But we will also, as one nation conservatives, do everything we can to stop people becoming criminals with rehabilitation.
Dice, lo que tenemos que hacer es evitar que las personas se conviertan en criminales o que vuelvan a reincidir,
So by investing in youth clubs and better FE
invirtiendo
funding to give young people the best possible antidote
en la gente joven
or instinct, that is the prospect of a good job. And in
para darle un antídoto contra la atracción que supone quizá
every kid in the country a superb education.
delinquir.
So that's why
Entonces dice, hay que invertir más en educación y en programas de reinserción. En definitiva,
That's why we're leveling up education funding across the country with the schools that have fallen furthest behind now seeing the biggest increases so that every child has the chance they deserve to express.
dice que hay que asegurar que todos los niños tengan la posibilidad de expresar su talento.
So that they can get the fantastic jobs that we are creating. That we're improving connectivity, investing in transport, a fantastic project of Northern Powerhouse Rail.
Y ahora habla de la inversión
From Manchester to Leeds, just the first leg.
en transportes y en comunicaciones. Va saltando
Rail,
Boris Johnson de ministerio en ministerio,
as well. And
siempre rondando la idea de un país unido y
you recited them yesterday.
con más progreso.
The A358, the A303, they're huge. The Lincoln roundabout. There's a huge range of things that we will be investing in now. And furthermore, I admit, and it's been exposed in the past, I'm a bit of a bus nut, and I confess that I like to make and to paint slightly inexact, very inexact, models of buses with happy passengers inside. I'm actually more interested in the passengers than the buses, but never mind.
Dice, bueno, que le gustaría bromea con los pasajeros que viajan en los autobuses
Because I'm a bus nut, we want to expand bus transport.
y que le gustaría que fuesen todos muy felices.
Make our buses cleaner, greener, zero carbon, zero emission across the country.
Y habla ahora de convertir los autobuses de todo el país en formas de transporte limpias y respetables con el medio ambiente,
Congestion, we reduce pollution, and a good bus service can make all the
sin renunciar a tener un buen servicio de transportes.
to your ability to get to the doctor, to the livability of your town or your village, and indeed to your ability to stay there.
De poder ir al médico desde cualquier ciudad o rincón del Reino Unido.
Business there. And it's for exactly that reason, to increase connectivity and livability, that we are now accelerating the program for gigabit broadband.
Dice, estas bueno, son las razones por las que
It's going to be
hay que implementar e invertir en conectividad y transportes.
To be truthful, I'm not entirely sure of the exact technical details of gigabit broadband, but we're bringing it forward by 8 years, and it will mean that everybody has not just super fast, but incredibly fast speed of light broadband spreading into every home in the country like super informative vermicelli, and bringing people together, giving people opportunity, giving people
Mantener a la gente unida, darles oportunidades, dice,
start a business, raise their family where they are.
para que puedan tener una familia o desarrollar un negocio allá donde estén.
Better connectivity with better transport, better education to unite,
Dice que todo está conectado
to bring it
y con mejores transportes, mejor educación, se puede hacer.
of the right infrastructure and the right technology. You increase the productivity of the whole UK economy.
Y se puede implementar la productividad de la economía en todo el Reino Unido.
What else do you allow to happen? Eddie, you allow new housing to go ahead. Huge numbers of new houses on brownfield sites that were never considered viable before.
Vemos que
That's the way forward.
Boris Johnson ha pasado muy rápido y de refilón
Young
por el acuerdo o la última propuesta de acuerdo
and you allow young people to
que se ha enviado a Bruselas.
good jobs, and above all, with safe streets and affordable housing and fantastic Wi-Fi, we give, as I say, business
Y ha hecho un rodeo, un repaso por todos los ministerios tratando de explicar la importancia de un país cohesionado, unido y autónomo.
London has overtaken New York as the #1 city for investment in fintech firms, and that's before we've even delivered Crossrail, which, by the way, was on time and on budget when the last mayor left office.
Lo que queda claro, y el propio eslogan lo dice, es que hacer el Brexit realidad es o está En primer lugar, en la agenda del primer ministro Boris Johnson, que tiene muy claro que la salida será el 31 de octubre.
Let's back Bailey for London in 2020.